Almost a year ago today, truckers who were standing up for Canadians' rights and freedoms were violently beaten in the street in Ottawa, and they're still facing ongoing legal battles. COVID restrictions and vaccine mandates have largely been repealed thanks to the sacrifices of these brave Canadian truckers. But do they get the credit? Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party of Canada have not hesitated to take credit, while these truckers still have legal bills to pay. Csaba Vizi, the man getting beaten in this video, joins me tonight, and the conversation starts right now.
I promise you, I will not let you down.
The trucks parked outside illegally should move.
Canada's Conservatives will meet our Paris climate commitment.
Enough with the woke. Sorry, Mr. Speaker, I take that back.
To champion our conservative principles.
We are the party of law and order.
To call in the auditors.
We haven't yet decided whether we're going to call for the government to impose a mandatory test or vaccination.
And we will win the next election. Canada must not ignore the reality of climate change.
Why weren't Canadians vaccinated in January and February like everyone else?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Controlled Opposition, Episode 7. I'm your host, Greg Wycliffe, and with me today, hailing from Windsor, Ontario, and also Romania, is the iconic driver of the big red truck at the trucker convoy next to the War Memorial. And during the trucker convoy, one of my most viral interviews, actually, with this guy, he ended up getting on Fox News because he was violently beaten by police. And because of these sacrifices, many of the mandates that have been restricted, many of the restrictions that have gone away are thanks to this man of the trucker convoy, the Romanian-Canadian sensation. With me tonight is Csaba Vizi. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Hi, Greg. Hi, everybody. I'm pretty good. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show. There's a lot to go over because you still have ongoing charges that you need to pay for. You have an ongoing legal battle that seems, not many people are talking about. We're going to talk about the funding that was supposed to go to the truckers. Where is all of that money? If I'm not mistaken, we had two different online fundraisers that were both flirting with $10 million each, of course. We're going to talk about how you just recently got to go and see Pierre Poilievre. Let me just open that up here. Just the other day, we're going to talk about your meeting with him. Maybe we'll start there, actually. This was just this past week, correct? So tell me about the interaction you had with him. Because you said he was speaking earlier. You said he was speaking earlier about truckers, right? And then he didn't specify trucker convoy truckers or something?
Yeah, correct. So I heard earlier it's coming to our town, and I said, okay, there is a time for me to meet him. So we went over there with my wife. I had plenty of friends also join us, and some of the people from his team get in touch with friends of mine, and they was talking about this freedom convoy stuff, and they mentioned my name. So at one point, Pierre is coming to do his speech. He was talking about truckers, but not the freedom convoy. The truckers in general, who they was working through the lockdowns and stuff like this. And at one point, he looked at me, he pointed his finger at me, and he said, "Thank you." Well, that was nice, to be honest with you. I didn't expect that at all. So it was the first time I saw him live. Mm-hmm. I gotta tell you, whatever he said over there, it kind of rings nice in your ear. Like he's against 15-minute cities. He's against digital ID and many other things what the current government is pushing on us. So the question is, once he gets elected, how many of that is gonna actually do what he's promising right now? Because usually, that's what politician does.
Yeah.
They tell you everything you want to hear. And when they get elected, they just turn 360. I hope it's going to be different, but it's early to judge him, my opinion.
It's too early to judge him, you said?
Yes, because, you know, for an example, let's say people, everybody walked in the front of a whorehouse, correct? In his life. It doesn't mean he's a cheater. So, because he just won there. So, let's say, from my point of view, I will like to give him some credit.
So, sorry, in
probably,
this case, the whorehouse is the House of Commons, or?
Well, it was just an example.
Okay. But so you were telling me the story on the phone earlier. Essentially, when you saw him to shake his hand after, you were saying that you were trying to tell him like, "Hey, I was actually at the convoy. And you know, I have ongoing legal." You were trying to talk to him about this, and you told me he said like, "You just want a picture or what?"
Yeah, exactly. Well, you gotta know, I was like, I don't know, probably the 500 or 600 people who get to shake his hand, and he was pretty overwhelmed with people over there, because we was like probably around 2,000 people at that event, and everybody wants a picture with him, and it was a huge line. And you know, after meeting so many people, shake hands with them, smile for the camera, it's been hard. Mm-hmm. So when I got the chance to step over there and I shake his hand, I try to tell him I'm a trucker from Ottawa who are facing criminal charges for standing up for freedom. And the only thing what he said, do you want to take a picture or not? I said, yeah, sure, let's go take a picture. Then we had the picture together, and I asked him, hey, is there any way I can connect with you directly? Then he was handing me a business card. So I haven't tried to call that number because I'm pretty sure nobody's going to ask for that, but I will like to send him an email maybe.
Yeah. You know, it's just for next time, you know what you should do, Csaba? If you get to meet him, you should just throw up this clip on your cell phone and be like, hey, Pierre, this is me. This is me in that video getting beaten. You know, maybe you should comment on that. You know, I was somebody who got beaten to stand up for the rights and freedoms in this country. Maybe
believe me or not, I had that video prepared to show him, but he was way too busy.
Right.
And probably tired too. And, you know, I understand.
I like what you brought up earlier about, you know, he's saying all these good things. Is he going to actually follow through, though? And that's exactly why we've started controlled opposition, to continue to hold these politicians' feet to the fire, to hold them accountable, and to demand higher standards for ourselves. And along with that, I think that we need to continue to, you know, not just wait for him to stop the 15-minute cities, not just wait for Pierre Poilievre to, you know, magically make all of our problems go away, but we also need to, you know, push for him to stand up for yourself, Csaba. And I actually sent him an email. It's a little bit lengthy, but I think it's pretty well written. And I think it kind of goes over a lot of what we just said. I CC'd you on this email as well, Csaba. Hello, Mr. Poilievre. You shook hands with Csaba Vizi this past week during your event in Windsor, Ontario. Not only was Csaba one of the brave truckers who stood up against vaccine mandates at the trucker convoy in Ottawa, he was one of the truckers who was violently beaten by police, as seen in this video. Mr. Poilievre, I appreciate that you have voiced opposition to vaccine mandates and COVID measures. However, it appears that your vocal opposition to mandates made a noticeable increase after the trucker convoy began in January 2022, but I digress. In this Twitter video of yours in particular, you said, "We are winning," and imply that it was from your efforts as Conservative Party leader that led to the end of vaccine mandates and COVID restrictions in Canada. I appreciate the sentiment, Mr. Poilievre. However, I and many other conservative Canadians believe a lot of credit belongs to the truckers of the Freedom Convoy who led the charge against vaccine mandates initially in January 2022. Csaba Vizi, the trucker from Romania, is still facing charges as a consequence for standing up for Canadian freedoms, and he wasn't even born in Canada. As you saw from this video of him being violently beaten, he has faced physical consequences and ongoing financial consequences for simply standing up for Canadian rights and freedoms. Pierre, as someone who is actually born in Canada and claims to champion rights and freedoms for Canadians, can you please recognize truckers like Csaba Vizi as the heroes who helped save us from COVID restrictions last year? For example, could you please tweet out Csaba Vizi's legal fundraiser to reward this brave trucker for helping push an anti-mandate movement that you are now benefiting from? And I gave him a link to the fundraiser, which we're going to talk about in a second. I also CC'd Csaba's email, and I also say, P.S., I understand, Pierre, you're trying to appeal to a more liberal audience in your messaging. You could share this video of him being violently beaten by police to win sympathy from liberal-minded people who are critical of law enforcement and to further demonstrate how divisive and backwards Canada has become under Trudeau. Just a thought. Speaking of which, guys, for everyone watching, a real reason I wanted to get Csaba on the stream here is as I saw this fundraiser on Twitter and I saw that not many people were talking about it. So the link is in the description, but go over to this and we're going to go over. Well, let's go over your charges right now because, yeah, guys, he's been beaten by police in the street. He's, ongoing legal battle. The link is in the description down below. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about the charges that you're still facing, and more importantly, who is helping you? Who is here? Because you even mentioned after I interviewed Csaba multiple times at the Trucker Convoy, and you were saying before we started, Greg, you made me famous. I was on Tucker Carlson, blah blah blah. But the point is, when's the last time you were on Fox News? Like when it's a hot topic. Maybe you're on Fox News, but now that you're kind of left out in the cold here, having to fight your own legal battles, no one wants to talk to you. And that really upsets me. But let's tell us the story of the charges that you got since the Trucker Convoy and what's going on now.
Yeah, the day I was arrested, I left that police warehouse with 3 charges. With one of them, it's resisting arrest. Probably you guys saw on that clip. I was pretty much resisting arrest. Yeah.
It doesn't look like you're resisting arrest at all, sir. It looks like you were being triple teamed. It looks like there's no movement at all, and then they decide to just kind of get some licks in or something. It's actually horrible to watch.
I was laughing when I was on the ground. You can't hear that, but I remember I was laughing for some reason.
And probably in disbelief, right?
I don't know. So, yeah, after I get that nice beating, they took me to a warehouse. And after a short period of time, they released me with 3 charges. One of them, it was resisting arrest. The other one, a mischief. And the third one was the honking, which one they called like failing to obey a court order. Mm-hmm. But a few weeks after that, I just heard they add a second mischief to my charges, so I have 4. It happened to me to hire a lawyer. The way I heard, it's one of the best, if not the best one in Canada. His name is Patrick Ducharme. I don't know if it's okay saying his name here or not.
You should ask the lawyer that first, but
too late. So I had a chance to meet him, to pay 10 grand for the retainer. I was kind of impressed. Mm-hmm. He looks and he talks good. Then I was thinking he's going to take care of my legal things. But last year, while I was in Romania visiting my family, I get a phone call from his office. And the manager told me, my lawyer has a message for me. Like the Crown has a deal. And the deal is to do 30 days in jail and plead guilty for what I did in Ottawa, for standing up and for freedom, right?
And would this would this be for like guilty to all the charges, like, or just mischief, or like all of these charges that were,
To be honest with you, I have no idea. They was just asking me if I'm interested to take this deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, I'm not going to take it. That's not going to happen. Even if there is zero criminal record at the end of the day, just for me to say I'm guilty, I'm not going to do it. You know?
Good for you.
You know what? Even if I have to do jail time, just because of that word, I'm not going to say it. That's not going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, you're not a guilty man, right? You're not a guilty man. And so good on you for standing by your principles. And while we're on the topic of, your story and everything you've had to go through, I just thought I was looking through old tweets doing research for this chat today. And there's another clip here from the convoy. This guy got pepper sprayed in the face. He's the trucker's from Almer, Ontario, I believe. And he was actually the guy with the big crane. If you guys remember the iconic, waving flag on the crane. Did you ever get to chat with this guy?
Oh yeah, he's my friend. We are in contact with each other. Yeah, he's an awesome guy.
Yeah.
His name is Ben.
Ben. And I mean, surely you're networking with other truckers who are at the convoy. Are these guys facing ongoing legal battles as well? Like, is there a whole slew of Csaba Vizis who are?
Well, not all of them. Only a few they was arrested.
Right.
But yes, we are a few truckers who they are in the same shoes like I am.
Mm-hmm.
Probably they wasn't beaten that spectacular like I been, and they didn't have that medical problems after that, because I had some and I still have some. But pretty much there are a few more facing the same charges like I do right now.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Some people are facing medical consequences for taking a certain pharmaceutical product. They have ongoing damage from that. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But you have ongoing health issues from getting a police beatdown for standing up for freedoms. Tell us. I know you're a humble trucker, but please tell us, like, what is the damage? How bad was it?
Well, when I got arrested, they broke one bone in my wrist. I realized that is broken after like 3 weeks or something. And I had a problem with my lower back for a long time. Even today, it's in pain sometimes.
Young guy like you?
The moment was I had blood in urine, and that was pretty scary when I saw that. And
blood in your urine.
Yeah. I for like a few weeks, I guess. I couldn't breathe after that. The next morning I woke up and it was hard to get off from the bed. And they damaged something on my neck also, because 3 fingers on my left hand, they are numb,
That's terrible.
I'm waiting for some MRI to see what's going on. It's some kind of nerve damage, I know already, so I don't need a specialist to tell me, some nerves, it's fucked up in your neck. I know that already because they are numb. So, and the other thing, I got some PTSD. And from a while, I'm seeing someone. I already did a few hours with him. To be honest, I don't feel any difference.
But you're trying it out. You're trying it out.
Mentally better.
Yeah. Well, and to give people an idea, like I interviewed Csaba a few times down at the trucker convoy, and something I would always ask these truckers about was, what are the police doing? You know, are the police around? Like, because like, you know, the police were always kind of leering around for the 3 weeks. Like, that's a long time. I remember even the first weekend, or like especially the first week, even the first weekend, there was constantly this paranoia of like, are the cops going to come beat us now? Like, are the cops going to come like down? And it was like 3 weeks of sort of paranoia. I can't even imagine how bad it was for you, just posting up in your truck for 3 weeks. For those who don't know, these people who are living in their trucks for 3 weeks, you know, like with their own little community. And to be treated like that, thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for your sacrifice.
Appreciate that.
And I do, you know, I don't want to disgust everybody, but I do before we get into that, again, I want to plug this, you know, for the ongoing legal battle that Csaba's facing. If you want to help him out, then please go to the link in the description below for the Give, Send, Go, or you can actually at the bottom of the screen here, it says send e-transfers to Getavizi at mail.com. You can send an e-transfer there directly for Csaba to help him with his ongoing legal battle there, because we don't want to forget our truckers. Like, I don't want to say that the Conservative Party has forgotten the truckers, but I'm going to bring up this tweet on screen here from Pierre Poilievre. This was from September 2022, and it says, "We are winning. Not even 2 weeks as leader, and Trudeau is backing down on his unscientific vaccine mandates and making the disastrous ArriveCan app voluntarily. Let's keep going." And I'm going to play this clip.
Sorry about the informality of recording this video from my car, but I'm in a rush to get home before the kids go to bed, and I wanted to share some incredible news with you. We're winning. Since I became leader of the Conservative Party, Justin Trudeau is on the run. First, he had to recognize there was such a thing as inflation, or just inflation as we call it. That's what he did days after I became leader, and today he's backing down on these vaccine mandates and other COVID controls that we have been opposing from the very beginning. And let me just read you the news. Hot off the presses, even CBC.
So let's enough from that guy. The point is he doesn't mention the truckers once. He doesn't mention the trucker convoy once. You know, again, I appreciate the sentiment of what he's saying, but it really, in my opinion, is super shameful. I know you met him the other day and he seems like a nice guy, but it's really super shameful when like he puts out these messages like this and there's no mention of the truckers. There's no mention of the sacrifices that you yourself made in Ottawa. Like it wasn't the establishment, the Liberal Party, the liberal media. They try to act like the trucker convoy never happened, like it was this horrible thing that didn't change anything. When we know that the second that the convoy arrived, they started to repeal mask mandates, I believe in Alberta and Saskatchewan, quite rapidly. Right away, the tide started to turn because of this trucker convoy. And it's really unfortunate to see, even from the Conservative Party of Canada, they're also treating it like the establishment. Like, yeah, it was because of the Conservative Party of Canada that we took away the mandates. We stopped Trudeau. You know, how does it make you feel, Csaba, to see a clip like this and, the leader of the opposition saying, yeah, we're winning, we stopped the mandates, and not even mentioning the trucker convoy?
Yeah, well, in my head, I have an explanation for that. My explanation is Pierre doesn't really know how many millions of Canadians are in this small fringe minority already. I'm pretty sure he thinks we are a few hundred. And maybe that's why he doesn't want to say anything about the Freedom Convoy, because he knew the mass majority, they don't have anything to do with this Freedom Convoy. They might gonna be pissed if he's gonna say something. But he doesn't know this, our fringe little family is growing every day. I have friends who are telling me at these rallies here and there, what's happening right now in Canada. New faces are coming up because now nobody talks about mask, nobody talks about vaccine anymore. Now there is a new problem, the 15-minute cities, It's being presented by the mass media like a beautiful, nice 15 minutes walk with trees, with dog parks, and all kind of nice bullshit. But it is not. People, they have to realize what it is that, what that's mean. So we're gonna live in small sectors, okay, based on who you are in life, how much money you have, what kind of position you have in society. You're gonna live in those sectors. They're gonna be pretty much lots of sectors with poor people. We won't be able to go in from sector 1 to sector 2. You need special permit for that. If you try to do it, whatever the security is going to be at the gates, they're going to shoot you. Just like in movies, what we saw like 20 years ago, and we said, oh my God, the producer had a very wild imagination. And there you go. We are just entering that era right now. Well, so many people, they realize it's a problem with these 15-minute cities, and they never move the muscle for the mask or the vaccines, but now they are standing up for that. So our numbers are increasing every day.
I hope so, and we really do need to resist the 15-minute cities. Isn't it funny how during the pandemic they are trying to restrict our movement? They're trying to track our movement with, ArriveCan and vaccine passports. They're trying to track us like cattle, monitor our movement. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they were even trying out different zones and restrictions in New Brunswick. I believe they wanted to try that during the pandemic to track people, make sure where they're going. And of course, the trucker convoy happened and the restrictions started to reverse and go back. But now that that's over, they're trying to restrict our movement. They're trying to track us like cattle. It's exactly the same thing, except instead of saying it's for a virus, they're saying it's for climate change, right?
Yeah. Well, back to my meeting with Pierre. It didn't went the way I planned. It's going to be like, maybe it's going to give me like 5 minutes to talk and say something or whatever. But I think it was still a positive meeting, because I'm pretty sure now he will know who's going to lead the next convoy after he will get elected, and maybe he's going to turn his back to us. Yeah. So now I'm going to be the one leading that convoy.
That's absolutely right. You better listen to Csaba. You better listen to the people. That's the face of a man of like, this guy better not mess it up. This guy better not mess it up. He better do what we want. And the whole point of the show, Uncontrolled Opposition, is to hold these people accountable, like I said, and to hold them to a high standard. And I got to say, one criticism based on this, everything that we're hearing right now, I've noticed a pattern, Csaba. The pattern is this: at the events with the conservative supporters, with the Pierre Poilievre supporters, at these big events, he always says all the things we want to hear. Hey, we're going to stop the 15-minute cities. We're going to stop digital ID. And all the base, all the supporters get super excited. But you know what? That it doesn't translate to what he says on Twitter, to what he says in the House of Commons, to what he says publicly. Like, it's only when he's talking to his base does he say that. And I'm curious, why not start fighting against the 15-minute cities now? Like, there seems to be this sort of hesitation, this cowardice, because the argument is, well, Greg, if he talks about 15-minute cities, then the media is going to call him this, that, or the other. But let's face it, Csaba, this media did not cover you getting beaten in the street in Ottawa. Nope. So this Conservative Party is afraid of the media, who's not even going to cover you getting beaten senseless. The morality of this media, we obviously can't trust. But anyway, I'm kind of going off on a tangent there about the Conservative Party not holding people accountable, but not being aggressive enough when it comes to these 15-minute cities. But I'm curious, have you heard any other stories from other truckers when it comes to connecting with the Conservative Party of Canada, or liking what they've done or not liking what they've done, with the network of people that you've been connected with through the convoy since then, has there been any murmurings about liking Pierre or not liking Pierre?
I got plenty of people talking about Bernier, but the amount of messages I got, I guess Pierre is the most favorite so far, from what I heard from people. And I'm not going to lie, he made a good impression on me over there with his speech. I could be wrong, but, my first impression was good. And, well, I hope it's going to turn out good. That's all I want to say.
Well, I certainly hope you're right, but I'm going to continue to hold his feet to the fire and ask him those tricky questions, because I did actually send him an email a couple episodes ago, episode 5. I emailed him like we did today, and I said, hey, can you please publicly disavow 15-minute cities? Can you please make a tweet about this? Can you make a video about this? And calling out Trudeau, because it's not just like one little thing. It's really this whole network that's been going on in Canada for some time. They're rolling it out in Edmonton already. And it's one thing to say it, again, it's one thing to say it at a rally with your people, with your base. Why not say it in the House of Commons? Because this is connected to digital ID. We know it's connected to digital ID. We know it's connected to wanting to restrict our movement and fine us for leaving our sector. And his whole base would be very supportive if he said that in the House of Commons, or even made a motion to oppose 15-minute cities. And that's kind of what we do on Controlled Opposition here. We use our imaginations to say, hey, why couldn't they do that? Why couldn't they oppose that more aggressively, as opposed to just saying it to a group of people in Windsor? You know what I mean?
Yeah. but that 15-minute city, doesn't matter how much the government is going to push it. Doesn't matter if Pierre is going to do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you now, we the people, we are not going to allow that to happen.
That's right.
That's when those fences, they want to came up and make those different sectors, That day we're going to have the Canadian Revolution. That day. So that's not going to happen.
A peaceful one. It's going to be a very super peaceful.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Super peaceful revolution, by the way, CSIS, if you're watching. Again, want to promote. We're going to get going here in a sec, but I want to talk about the money once again. Okay, because you've faced physical consequences, the financial consequences of this ongoing, legal battle that you're going through. You stood by your principles, and you're paying for it. And once again, there's a link in the description to support Csaba. And also, if you want to send a direct e-transfer, the link is, or the address rather, is getavizi@mail.com. But just to bring this back up again, we saw pages like this a lot during the trucker convoy. We saw the Give, Send, Go campaign. Before that, it was the other one, which millions and millions of dollars. But well, I'm going to play a clip from War Campaign here. And because War Campaign has been asking questions about the fact that, where has all this money gone? Most importantly, why isn't this money that was raised for the truckers actually getting to the truckers like Csaba Vizi here? So we'll just play a clip from his video.
$450,000 was surreptitiously attempted to be taken out of the donations that Canadians gave to the truckers and their families during the Freedom Convoy. There was no announcement around it, and when I started asking questions, I realized I was onto something. The public understands that the donations, the money for the truckers and their families, is inaccessible as it is frozen by court order, and it's in escrow. The lawyers for the corporation, known informally as Freedom Corp, have used funds on occasion unbeknownst to those even on the board of directors. Mr. Norman Groot was hired by the JCCF to lift the Mariva injunction on the Freedom Corp's assets. A Mariva injunction is a freezing of all assets, including any new fundraising. A deal was struck with Mr. Paul Champ to only freeze the current funds, but not any future fundraising, enabling the Freedom Corp to do their own fundraising. This never happened. and the JCCF remained the donation destination given all social media messaging. It always struck me as self-serving, as social media influencers, professional political activists, aspiring politicians, and politically connected lawyers took the limelight, as the actual Canadian people and the truckers present at the Freedom Convoy receded into the background and were almost forgotten over the past year.
Love War Campaign. That was just some of the video, but you get the idea. Obviously, you can go to, I believe it's wcfreedom.com. We'll bring his channel up here because he's got some great stuff if you guys haven't heard of it already. Big shout outs to War Campaign. He does a more in-depth video there. You can find it. But yeah, I mean, Csaba, we were on the phone and you were kind of saying the same thing. You were asking, you were kind of trying to get in, you were telling me you're trying to get in touch with JCCF and because you have this legal battle going on and you kind of got the runaround of, hey, here's my business card. Like, you know, we'll let you know later on. What has that experience been like trying to, you know, receive some of the donations from these kind of $1 million fundraisers?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. The day I joined the convoy, we've been told some organization, they're gonna pay for our fuel going up to Ottawa. Well, I gotta tell you, since today, not one official penny came from the Freedom Convoy. Not one. I got a donation from people, but nothing officially from the Freedom Convoy. And I remember everybody was filling up some kind of forms with his numbers, with his plates and truck model and color and stuff like that to be reimbursed for our fuel.
Sorry, where was this?
Happened.
Where was this form from? Where did this form come from?
Well, as soon as I parked in Ottawa, probably the second or third day, somebody showed up with these forms to each trucker or probably each vehicle to fill it up, and we're going to get paid for our fuel. The fuel with which one I use it from Windsor to Ottawa, going up, joining the convoy at the very first time. And yeah, nothing officially from them.
Wow. I remember.
But I heard also some bigger shots in this our organization. They was able to pay for their lawyer fees with the money what the truckers get. So, and I'm wondering how is that possible? So somebody who's not even didn't drive his truck. He was just, I don't know. I'm not gonna say names, and not even a trucker. He was able to pay like $450,000 lawyer fees from the convoy money, and me as a trucker and the rest of the truckers facing all this legal battle right now, we are not able to access that funds. That's not too nice, to be honest with you. I can't rely on people to help me out because life is tough in Canada right now. But the money is out there and somebody's sitting on it. Okay, the government is sitting on it, but there is also some small gates so people, they can access that. You know, that's not fair.
No. And you just maybe make this connection here. It's funny that we have all of these, you know, Freedom Convoy supporters or people who are part of the convoy who are now kind of getting behind Pierre Poilievre. And the thing is what does Pierre Poilievre always say? You know, the price of milk. Things are getting expensive. How is this money being spent? Money. Where's the money, Trudeau? Why are you spending so much money? And then yet if you look at the leadership of the convoy, it's like we should be just as concerned, if not more concerned, about where this money has gone and why isn't it getting back to the truckers. To be fair, based on that War Campaign video, there is a lot of different moving parts and it is very it seems very intricate. That's why I haven't talked more about it on the show. But I also wanted to bring up another topic before we go here, Csaba, because there's been a lot of other murmurings of controlled opposition within the convoy movement itself. And I remember, interviewing yourself and many other truckers down there for the 3 weeks and asking them, like, who's in charge here exactly? Like, who comes to talk to you? And even yourself, you just said you kind of got this piece of paper one day by who? I don't know. But I guess going back to last year, were there any things that stuck out to you, or any kind of like notes you have on controlled opposition, or like weird things that were going on at the time? You can also talk about more recently, but things that you kind of saw that were kind of fishy, you thought, back then during the convoy.
Well, like I said, I'm not good with politics at all. I try to stay away from that. It's a topic which one, I don't know. It's not really my thing. But
you got too much heart for that stuff. That's for sure.
Okay, now I'm gonna make a joke. Plenty of people, they are telling me, "Hey, go for the prime minister. We're gonna vote for you." All right. I understand people, they fight to get over there. Once they get elected, even if they start up with a big heart and lots of motivation, and I'm going to do this for Canadians, or, I'm pretty much, there are some strong powers out there who they start manipulating things. Let's say a good-hearted guys get elected over there with a family, and probably is treated right away. Hey, you're gonna do something with your family if you don't do this, or you don't follow our way. Or simply, he's just maybe hungry for money, and he's gonna go on the money way. I don't know. My opinion, the best prime minister will be a guy who doesn't have a family and he doesn't care about wealth. He might gonna be a good guy for Canada, I guess. He cannot be corrupted with money, or he cannot be treated with his family. Because I heard all kinds of stories from all over the place, By the way, have you heard about all those politicians killed in, let's say, in Africa, when they tried to push the vaccine things on them, and some people, they refused that, and suddenly they just get killed?
I mean, it certainly conjures images of people pulling the strings, of there being different kind of puppeteering going on. And it's very, you took a very kind of like hyper real, or sort of, not, I don't want to say cynical, but it could just be a realistic approach, asking the question, like, are these people being blackmailed? Are these people, because you're so right. It seems to be so systemic, or systematic, if you will. These people seem so earnest when they're rising to power. That seems like they're going to save us, and then they get in power and they do the exact same thing. And it's like who are these people beholden to, right? And the biggest problem is that it's not the people. It seems to be some sort of corporate leash that they all seem to be on.
Yeah.
And it's just terrible. It's just because, the people continue to suffer. But I think you're right. The answer does lie in the people. And once again, it's the trucker convoy showed us how powerful that can be. It showed the world how powerful that can be when we do get together and stand up in solidarity and say, no, enough is enough. So you're going to lead the convoy. If there's another, if 15-minute cities are cracking down, there's going to be an anti-15-minute cities convoy. I like the sound of that.
Well, I was joking about it, but hopefully it's not going to be necessary for another convoy. Let's see first our prime minister, what he's going to do. He's going to go leaving Cuba, or he's going to find himself another place, because he's clearly not welcome in Canada anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I want to ask, this isn't really part of the regular show of Controlled Opposition, but I kind of want to ask just on a personal level, Csaba, because, I have seen you throughout the years, or, multiple times throughout the year. What is your feeling like now of being Canadian? Because I feel like for myself, you're maybe similar. The trucker convoy was such a high of feeling very proud. Like I feel like I felt Canadian for the first time, like truly, even though I was born here. You know, I felt Canadian pride, true Canadian pride. I felt the nation, the spirit of the nation for the first time at the trucker convoy. But then after the convoy, it was this low of, oh my God, you know, what is going on? This like the authoritarian, the authoritarian face of our government has been exposed, yet it seems like all the momentum from the convoy had dissipated, and it was just such a low point. What was that like for you after the convoy, and kind of where are you at now in terms of, you know, hope for the future and this nation of Canada? And please be honest.
Well, you gotta know, I wasn't even a Canadian citizen during the convoy. I had my citizenship test before I left. And after that, I was convinced, like, oh man, I fucked this up. Probably I'm never gonna become a Canadian. But it happened to, become one. And I gotta tell you, you know what? Let's put it this way. I born in Romania. You know, I'll be honest. I never cared about the Romanian flag or the Romanian anthem. It happened for me to live like 10 years in Hungary. And man, I feel the same. Like, okay, that's the flag, that's the anthem. That's okay. Came to Canada, and whatever happened here with this convoy, I don't know. Something hit me, man. But now, believe it or not, I cannot listen to the Canadian anthem without crying. You know, I'm so proud of our flag. I buy a flagpole in front of my house. I put a big Canadian flag on it. I never had that before, or any Canadian flags items around me. Well, now I am. So I'm a big-time Canadian patriot, man. You know, and I'm okay with that. Even if it's dangerous this day to be a patriot, I'm okay with that. And I wear that, you know, with pride. I was visiting my parents last year over the sea. And when I came home, immigration pulled me over, even if I was coming home with a Canadian passport.
Sorry, immigration pulled you over?
That's right. No, I've been sent to the immigration office. And I said, hey, why? I'm a Canadian citizen. I have no business over there.
This is in Romania. This happened.
No, in Canada.
When you came back from Romania visiting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I came from Amsterdam to Toronto.
Okay.
It was a little bit of problems on the plane, like it forced me to put a mask. I didn't want to. So it was pretty bad. Everybody else, they was very masked. Me and my family, nope. We didn't put one. We arrive in Toronto, the gates opens, we are going out. The Canadian security guy right at the door with the stewardess, and when he saw me, I mean, me and my wife, he said, like, in an angry kind of voice, like, put the mask on. And
Man.
I told him to fuck off. I'm not going to put one on. Forget about it. So he was pissed. He said, don't make me tell you again. I said, yeah, go ahead, tell me again. Then he repeated that. I said, you know what, fuck you, I'm not going to put one. And we have this kind of conversation while we was leaving that corridor. Then I saw an officer at the booth. And they sent us to the immigration. I said, okay.
So you did this at customs in the airport. You did this at customs in the airport.
When I become a citizen, yeah.
I was gonna say you're almost like Ricky from the Trailer Park Boys. You're like, I'm not gonna fuck off. I'm not gonna wear your fucking mask. Like, I don't care if this is the customs at the airport. Like,
because you should know that's what we have to do. You know, because they are coming all these good-looking guys in those fancy uniforms, and they stop in front of you and they tell you, put a mask on, and what? We should shit our pants and do what they said? No, fuck no. I'm not that type of guy. You know?
No, I think you're right. Good on you. Good on you. So that was it. They stopped you.
Immigration officer told me. The immigration officer asked us to put a mask on. She was handing the box with the mask on in, and I said, "No, thank you. We are fine. We don't need one." And she was like, "Oh my God, you guys don't want to put a mask?" I said, "No. We are fine. Thank you very much. We are not gonna wear one." I'm done with that. I wear the mask before. I gotta admit that. I fall for this crap corona bullshit at the beginning. I thought everybody's gonna die. But for like 3 weeks. After that, I said, oh, hold on. It's something mushy here. So then I decided not to put a mask on my face anymore in my life. Except if I'm going to decide to rob a bank, you know, I'm going to wear one. But not until that. No way.
Which you would never do.
That's also a joke.
Yeah, of course. Just got to clarify because sometimes CSIS is listening all the time. Hi, CSIS.
We are running out of physical money.
But I did like what you said at the end there about being a patriot, even if it is dangerous. Because you're right. There is a lot of consequences for being a true patriot and standing up. Thank you so much for sharing your story there about how you now have a Canadian flag outside your home. Is there any moment... This is a question that I got asked, and you're probably like me. It's like, what was your favorite moment from the convoy? And I'm sure if you're like me, there's a lot of them. But is there anything that stands out that really okay?
It was the day when I was left behind by my close friends over there, and they decided to go home. For different purposes, and I'm pretty much end up alone over there. You remember I was parking at front of that fancy hotel?
Yeah.
And police, they wanted to tow my truck that night and arrest me. And I was in the hotel when I realized I was completely alone. My friends, they left while I was gone. And
wow.
I've been told, like, hey, Csaba, you got to come back because they're going to arrest you tonight, la, la, la. And, I was kissing my family goodbye, hugging them in the hotel room. And I said, okay, I'm going to be arrested tonight. You guys don't worry, I'm going to be okay. And by the time I get back to my truck, it was a crowd of like 400 or 500 people, man. They was literally blocking the street. They was hanging to each other. You know, singing the Canadian anthem, waving flags.
Defending your truck.
Yes. They was...
defending Big Red.
was like protecting with their body, my trucks, my truck. And there was about, 20, 30 cops around the truck waiting for me or something. And I just sneak into my truck. I start my truck. Because they said I gotta go up right in the front of the parliament to be with the rest of the truckers, to be protected or whatever. And I jump into my truck. I started up, and while sitting in my truck, I was seeing plenty of people in the front of my truck. And as soon as I start my engine, all those people, they just being like a group around my truck, they just open me a road going up on the hill. And at one point, my truck couldn't go up on the hill because of the ice and snow. And all those people, they pushed my truck up, man. That's...
because of the snow?
Because of the snow and the ice.
Right.
And, my truck, it's a few tons heavy.
Yeah,
people, they just literally pushed my truck up. I cannot describe you that feeling. I only can give you an example. I was imagining myself like winning a lottery, like, I don't know, let's say $1 million. How happy might became knowing I won $1 million. But you know that how to say that level of happiness, winning $1 million, didn't come even close with what I was experiencing over there when all those people show up over there for me only, to save me from the cops and push me up on the hill. You know, that's probably, it was the best moment in my freedom convoy, you know, because also it was a good experience meeting all those people, you know, laughing with them, crying with them. But that night when they saved me, those people, they saved me from the being arrested in, I guess it was February 17, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. That was really heart touching for me. You know, I will love to relive that minutes again. I don't know, that was like, yes.
It's beautiful. Doesn't get more Canadian than that, really. Helping someone get out of the snow.
So it is impossible for me to describe that feeling that I had.
That was right before. That was right before.
I try to hold back my tears right now.
That was right before stuff really hit the fan. Well, we're gonna wrap it up here. I
was arrested February 19th, 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. We're gonna wrap it up here. I just got a super chat from Elizabeth to help Csaba the trucker. She sent me $20 Canadian. Elizabeth, and for everybody else, send the e-transfers. I will forward it on, but send the e-transfers directly to Getavizi. It's at the bottom of the screen, just over here. Getavizi@mail.com. That's where you can send an e-transfer, but also for the Give, Send, Go, there's the link right here. The link is in the description. But let's get Csaba up there. We want to see more donations here. We want to help out our friend. Here's one from 20 minutes ago. We appreciate you. I hope this donation helps not only with the legal fees, but I hope it lifts your heart to know people appreciate you. Thank you so much. Another one for $28. This is great, guys. Thank you so much for supporting. The link's in the description below. Anything else that you want to share with the people before we go, Csaba?
Anything else? I will be in Calgary this weekend. Hopefully I'm going to meet lots of friends, make new friends. Also, probably I'm going to have a chance to get an answer of that legal fees things, how some people, they can take money from that seized Give and Go, right?
Yeah.
And we'll see what kind of answers I'm gonna get. Maybe I'm gonna make more friends or some enemies too.
Right.
But I'm gonna ask that question definitely because I want to know.
And that's really it. We gotta keep asking questions. That is going to do it for us on the show today. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for being with us, Csaba. Once again, donations in the link to the description below for the Give, Send, Go for his legal fees, but you can also send a direct e-transfer to Getavizi@mail.com. Thanks again, Csaba, for being on the show, and I'm excited to be a patriot with you into the future.
Thank you very much. I appreciate for everything you do.
Hey, man, right back at you. Thanks so much for watching, guys. And don't forget, it is okay to demand higher standards.